How's it going, guys? Alright, so this is going to be another What Do We Know So Far video. So this one is on the new Assassin's Creed Unity. It's coming out soon, actually. If you're living in America, it's coming out on the 11th of November. If you're anywhere else except Japan, it's coming out on the 13th of November. And if you're Japanese, sorry, this game is not coming out until the 4th of December. It's only going to be available on next-gen consoles, so PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And this is obviously the 7th game in the Assassin's Creed series. Now, I have to be honest, when it comes to the Assassin's Creed games, while I do love the series and I do love the franchise, I have felt recently that they've just been bringing out too many Assassin's Creed games too often, and it just feels like they're kind of watering down the franchise. But I am going to say that after seeing footage about Assassin's Creed Unity at E3 and also at Gamescom, I will admit this game does look good, and it is the first Assassin's Creed game on next gen, so hell yeah, I'm gonna buy it. Alright, so let me tell you a little bit. So what do we know so far then about Assassin's Creed Unity? Well, firstly, it's set in Paris during the French Revolution, and if you know, anybody who knows me knows I'm a big history buff, and I absolutely love the French Revolution. It's one of my favorite periods in history. So for me to be able to play a game and a character set in the French Revolution is incredibly exciting. The single-player campaign, the single-player story is going to follow a guy called Arnaud Dorian. And you're an assassin, obviously, and during the course of the game, you're going to be trying to expose the true powers behind the revolution. Obviously, we all know that those true powers are going to inevitably end up being Templar in some form or other. Now, Arnaud, basically, let me tell you a little bit about him, what we know so far. He's a native Frenchman. He was born in Versailles, and his father was actually an assassin. Now, his father was killed, and Arnaud was actually adopted. But, unawares to him, he was adopted into a new family that had quite a senior position within the Templar Order. Interesting, or what? So, his new father figure is actually the Templar Grand Master. That, I cannot wait to see how that's going to play out in the actual story. That sounds like such an interesting backstory and so much like internal conflict. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything else because I don't want to spoil it, and I do want you guys to go out and buy this game and play it yourselves. But we do know at some point that Arnaud basically is going to join the Brotherhood of the Assassins, and this story is basically, you know, his kind of rise through the ranks. It reminds me a lot of when Ezio Auditore was rising, you know, became an assassin. His father was an assassin, but he didn't know. And then he was like slowly rising through the ranks and kind of learning the ins and outs of being an assassin. Now, it sounds like it's going to be like that. Assassin's Creed 2 is my favorite Assassin's Creed game, and I love that side of the game, so I'm very excited to see this. I love the setting of Paris. I have to admit that while I did enjoy playing Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 3, I couldn't stand Connor. But one of the things that really disappointed me the most about Assassin's Creed 3 and Black Flag was the setting. I never really connected with the settings. I mean, yeah, it was cool to be like in the middle of the American Revolution, and it was cool, you know, controlling a boat and a ship and being a pirate and everything, but the actual like settings never really blew me away. And I think that's because one of the things I really loved about the original Assassin's Creed series was the settings. I loved my two favorite games in the Assassin's Creed series are Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. And one of the reasons is because they were set in kind of hugely historical landscapes, you know, Rome, Venice, and so on. And these areas are they're just so iconic. They have so many iconic buildings. They're big, large urban structures and landscapes that you can climb up and traverse and explore. And I am really liking the fact that they're going back to that in Assassin's Creed Unity. I myself cannot wait to explore Paris. I am so psyched to be able to climb up Notre Dame. It's going to be amazing. So yeah, so that's about the story and the setting. So the gameplay. Well, they've basically overhauled the gameplay to a degree. They've said that the game is based on 3 pillars. The first is movement. Now, it looks like the movement in this game has been completely overhauled, and it looks so much better. One of the biggest things I always do with Assassin's Creed the series is I was always yelling at the TV screen, shouting at Ezio or shouting at Connor and just screaming, I didn't tell you to go that way, why are you doing that? And I just used to get really frustrated sometimes with the movement, especially when you had to do things, you know, under time conditions. You had to get to this lever and pull it, your character do some weird friggin' move and you'd be off God knows where. Now it does look like the movement in this is so much better, and that's because they've introduced something called controlled descent or controlled ascent, or parkour up, parkour down. It looks like the movement is so much better, and Arno, the way he moves is fabulous. The way you move from the top of a building down to the ground level is great. It just looks wonderful. It looks so smooth and just so amazing, and I can't wait to just explore and see what I can do and throw myself at ledges and just see what I can do. I can't wait. It's going to be great. The combat obviously is back. Combat's a big key thing of the Assassin's Creed series. Now, I am told it is a bit more robust and it's a little bit more difficult than previous games that have been out, and there is a lot of like influence from fencing. There's obviously, you know, there's the parry, a dodge, tackle, heavy attack, but I do know, and I haven't seen much about it, but they do say it is a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging. Now, stealth obviously is a big key thing for Assassin's Creed, and finally they've introduced a dedicated stealth mode. Why they haven't done this before, I have no idea, but this stealth mode can actually be activated really simply just by pushing a button, and it just looks great. You just basically, you know, crouch down into the stealth mode. You're much harder to detect. You move more cautiously. You can actually move from cover to cover. It just looks good, and I'm just like, why has this never been in an Assassin's Creed game before? Finally, it's in Assassin's Creed Unity, and it looks good. Now, the Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Toronto, who have basically worked on this, I think Montreal mainly worked on the single-player story campaign, and Toronto seemed to have worked on the co-op side of it. Now, they have said it is a lot more of an open world. There are going to be seamless transitions between main missions and side missions. So it's going to be different to previous Assassin's Creed games, where you actually had, like, you know, you'd walk up to something and there'd be an icon and you'd have to activate that mission and then you'd be locked into that mission. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case with Assassin's Creed Unity. You're actually going to be able to move in and out of missions very seamlessly. Part of this as well is going to be the way that you travel through the city. You're going to be able to go through buildings more easily, and it's not going to be a quick cutscene transition like it was in Assassin's Creed 3, where you go through a door, jump through a window, and then it's just an animated scene until you go out the other side. You're actually going to be able to go into these buildings, explore inside these buildings, and then there are going to be missions and characters within them, and that looks great. A new thing that they've introduced as well is, obviously, when you're on top of a building, they've introduced something called a high ground feature. Now, that's going to allow you to see missions and features around you and choose what you want to take on and what you want to do. The biggest thing, however, in this game that's got me super excited for the new Assassin's Creed Unity is, for the first time, they've introduced full-player co-op story-based missions, and it looks fun. Now, I think a lot of this will be, you know, linked and influenced by things like Watch Dogs and things becoming much more online, sort of online community, that kind of thing. Now, the way in which this 4-player co-op is going to work is there are going to be taverns within the game which act as social hubs. And what you'll basically do is you will go into this tavern, and within the tavern you'll be able to see if any of your friends are actually playing the game at the same time that you are. Now, if they are currently in a mission, they will appear on your game as kind of a ghost version of the player. You will approach this ghost version, and you know, it will give you the option to ask to join their game. Now, if that person's happy for you to join in, they'll accept you, and then what will happen is the game will reset you to the most recent checkpoint, both of you, and continue on from there. And that's when you'll be able to jump into a mission together and actually play through that mission together. Now, you will always appear to be Arno, and the people that are in the game with you will appear just to be like random generated assassins. Now, there are many missions and activities apparently that are cooperative, and that you can play with up to 4 people, but there are also some single dedicated single player missions that you can only play as a single player. But I have to say, the whole idea of playing Assassin's Creed with my friends and dropping in and coordinating to assassinate somebody, and it looks good. It looks so exciting and so good. So anyway, that is what we know so far about the new Assassin's Creed Unity. I'm super psyched about this game. I'm really excited. I've pre-ordered it. I'm going to be getting it on the release date. Actually, I'm actually on holiday at this time when the game comes out, so I'm hoping to jump straight in. I am hoping to possibly do a let's play about it. It does depend on life. It does depend on time. But if you guys would like to see a let's play of this game, let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think of this game? Are you going to buy it? Are you interested in it? Also let me know in the comment section below. Alright guys and girls, I'll be back next week with another video of what we know so far. Hope you guys and girls have a great day. Take care and happy gaming. Yeah.